So, a while back, I did a video about the Blue Album, Weezer's perfect debut, the album that made nerdy kids feel seen, the record that proved geeks could make perfect pop music. That video had a happy ending because the Blue Album was a massive success that changed everything. This video doesn't have a happy ending. This is about what happens after you make a perfect album at 23 years old and suddenly realize you have no idea who you are anymore. This is about a man so desperate for genuine human connection that he wrote the most emotionally naked album of the 90s, then got eviscerated for it so badly that he spent the next 25 years trying to become someone else. This is the story of Pinkerton, the album that destroyed Rivers Cuomo's ability to be honest, and in the process, permanently broke Weezer. Spoiler alert, it involves leg-lengthening surgery, Harvard, fan letters that became songs, and the kind of critical savaging that fundamentally rewires someone's personality. This isn't just about an album, it's about what happens when you expose your soul and the world tells you it's ugly. But before we dive into this beautiful disaster of oversharing and artistic self-destruction, quick thing. If you're here because you watched the Blue Album video, or you just love stories about musicians having complete nervous breakdowns, hit subscribe because I've got about 30 other tales of artistic trauma. Also, like the video because Rivers would probably hate that I'm psychoanalyzing his trauma for algorithmic engagement and money, which somehow makes it even more Pinkerton. Good? Good. So, 1994. The Blue Album has been out for a few months and it's massive. Buddy Holly, Undone, Say It Ain't So, these songs are everywhere. Rivers Cuomo, this nerdy kid from Buddhist communities in Connecticut, is suddenly a rock star, and he's completely unprepared for what that means. Here's what I didn't cover in the Blue Album video. Rivers is deeply, fundamentally uncomfortable with fame. Not in the Kurt Cobain, I hate being famous way, more like I don't understand why people are looking at me and it makes me want to hide in a cave way. The Blue Album was easy to write because it was about his life before anyone cared. My Name is Jonas was about his family. In the Garage was about being a nerd. Say It Ain't So was about his dad's alcoholism. Real emotions, but safe because he was nobody when he wrote them. Now he's somebody and he has no idea how to process that. Weezer goes on tour and Rivers is having a complete crisis. He's playing Buddy Holly every night to thousands of people, but he feels more alone than when he was writing songs in his bedroom. The other guys in the band, Matt Sharp, Brian Bell, Pat Wilson, they're enjoying the success. Rivers is drowning in it. And then there's the physical stuff. Rivers has this leg condition. One leg is slightly shorter than the other. It's been bothering him his whole life, and now that he's on stage every night, it's becoming unbearable. But also, and this is crucial, he's deeply insecure about his body in a way that fame is making worse. December 1995, Rivers makes the decision that everyone around him thinks is insane. He's going to have leg lengthening surgery. This isn't a simple procedure. They break your leg, insert a metal frame, and gradually separate the bone while it heals, extending it over months. It's agonizing, both literally and as a metaphor for what he's doing to himself emotionally. He's also decided to enroll at Harvard because apparently having one of the most successful rock bands in America isn't enough. He needs to prove he's intellectually serious too. The insecurity is radiating off him like heat. So here's Rivers in early 1995, leg in a metal cage, living in a dorm at Harvard, unable to tour, unable to walk, separated from his band, trying to study classical composition while his body is literally being torn apart and rebuilt. Completely lost in self-isolation. This is when he starts writing Pinkerton. And here's where it gets really mental. He's keeping a diary, not just any diary, an obsessive, detailed record of every thought, every feeling, every interaction. He's documenting his pain with the precision of someone conducting a scientific experiment on his own suffering. The fan letters start arriving, hundreds of them, girls writing to him about how the Blue Album made them feel, sharing their own pain, some of them including photos. And Rivers, isolated in his dorm room with his broken leg, starts writing back. Then he starts writing songs about them. This should be a red flag to anyone with functioning boundaries, but Rivers is way past red flags. He's taking real people, fans who trusted him with their vulnerability, and turning them into songs, not as metaphors, as actual documentation. Across the Sea is the key to understanding what Rivers was going through. It's about a fan letter from Japan, from a girl who's 18. And Rivers is writing lyrics like, "I wonder what clothes you wear to school. I wonder how you decorate your room." It's uncomfortable. He's documenting his own creepiness, his loneliness, his inability to connect with humans in normal ways. The genius of Across the Sea is that Rivers knows it's fucked up. He's not celebrating these feelings, he's confessing them, like someone in a therapy session who's finally being honest. The bridge where he's singing about his childhood traumas is deliberately pathetic. He's showing you the ugliest parts of himself and asking if you'll still love him. Most people answered, no, we won't. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about Harvard, because Harvard is where Rivers' brain fully breaks. He's taken classes in classical composition, reading philosophy, trying to intellectualize his way out of feeling things. He's studying Puccini's Madama Butterfly, which is about an American sailor who abandons a Japanese woman who loves him. Rivers, with his typical subtlety, decides this is the perfect framework for an album. The concept becomes Rivers is Pinkerton, the American sailor. The fans writing to him are Butterfly, the Japanese girl who loves someone who can't love her back properly. It's literary, it's intellectual, it's also deeply revealing about how Rivers sees himself, as someone incapable of genuine connection, who hurts people by being emotionally unavailable. He's also listening to opera constantly, not rock opera, actual opera, Puccini, Verdi, Wagner. He's trying to bring that emotional intensity, that shameless melodrama to rock music, which is insane, but also kind of brilliant. The songs start pouring out. Tired of Sex is about being exhausted by casual hookups that never fill the void. No Other One is about obsessing over a girlfriend's flaws because you're too insecure to accept being loved in the present. Why Bother is giving up on relationships before they start because you're certain you'll fuck them up anyway. This isn't woe is me self-pity. This is genuine self-loathing documented with uncomfortable precision. Rivers isn't asking for sympathy, he's showing you why he doesn't deserve it. The recording sessions for Pinkerton are tense. The band can tell Rivers is going through something, but he won't talk about it. He's bringing in songs that are so personal they feel invasive to play. Matt Sharp later said it felt like being forced to watch someone have a breakdown in slow motion. Rivers produces the album more raw than the Blue Album. Fewer overdubs, more mistakes left in, vocals that crack and strain. He wants it to sound unfinished because he is unfinished. The whole thing is drenched in this desperate, uncomfortable energy. Pinkerton Triangle is the thesis statement. Rivers falls for a girl, then realizes she's a lesbian, and instead of just being disappointed like a normal person, he writes a whole song processing his feelings. The genius is in how pathetic he makes himself sound. I'm dumb, she's a lesbian is both self-deprecating and somehow still self-absorbed. The album structure follows the Madama Butterfly arc loosely. It opens with Rivers exhausted by sex, moves through various attempts at connection, and ends with, well, not suicide like the opera, but butterfly, which might be worse. It's Rivers apologizing to all the girls he's hurt while also kind of asking them to feel sorry for him. September 24th, 1996, Pinkerton is released. The critical response is immediate and brutal. Rolling Stone gives it 3 stars and calls it juvenile, and singles out Tired of Sex as aimless. The Dayton Daily News say it's a tremendous disappointment and say that Weezer is headed to the graveyard of forgettable bands. Entertainment Weekly calls it a collection of get-down party anthems for agoraphobics. Rolling Stone readers voted the album the 3rd worst album of 1996. But here's the thing. They're not wrong. I mean, they're obviously wrong, but it's understandable. Pinkerton is uncomfortable. It is self-absorbed. Rivers is documenting some genuinely creepy thoughts. The question is whether that honesty is valuable or just indulgent. The commercial response is even worse. The Blue Album sold millions. Pinkerton barely goes gold. Tour dates are getting canceled. Radio won't play the singles. MTV isn't interested. And Rivers? Rivers is reading every single review, every single one. He's internalizing every criticism, every negative comment, every suggestion that he's overshared. This is where Rivers Cuomo breaks.
In interviews from 1997, you can watch it happen in real time. He said he didn't care about commercial success at that point, even if the band ended up starving. He's doing the rock star thing where you pretend criticism doesn't hurt. Matt Sharp leaves the band in 1998, partly because of creative differences, but also because Rivers has become impossible to work with. He's withdrawn so far into himself that he's barely present.
And then Rivers makes a decision that will define Weezer for the next 25 years. He will never be that honest again. He literally creates a spreadsheet, the encyclopedia of riffs it's sometimes called, where he analyzes pop songs to figure out the formula for hits. Verse length, chorus placement, key changes, lyrical themes that work. He's turning songwriting into mathematics because mathematics is safe. Mathematics won't reject you. The Green Album in 2001 is the result. It's Weezer, but it's Weezer with all the humanity surgically removed. The songs are catchy, professional, and completely empty. Island in the Sun is a nice song, but it's nice in the way elevator music is nice. There's no risk, no vulnerability, no Rivers. Personally, I love the album, but that's because I love pop and I love the story behind it, which could lead to another video. Let me know if you'd want that. And it works commercially. The Green Album sells way better than Pinkerton. Radio plays it, MTV plays the videos, Weezer is back. Except Weezer isn't really back. It's a Weezer-shaped product that happens to have Rivers Cuomo's voice. Every album after that follows the same pattern. Maladroit is a return to form, but not really. And then you've got Make Believe, the Red Album, Ratitude, which has a song with Lil Wayne that sounds like a hostage video, Hurley with a lost character on the cover for some reason. They're all Rivers desperately trying to figure out what people want from him and giving them that instead of what he actually feels. In forums from that era, Rivers would interact with fans in a bitter, angsty, childish way and would shit on Pinkerton and Blue, like when, in response to praise, he called Only in Dreams Disney gay. Yeah, it's hilarious, but also concerning. Beverly Hills in 2005 becomes their biggest hit, and it's the most vapid song they ever wrote. Rivers later admitted he wrote it as a joke, a parody of what he thought people wanted from Weezer. They loved it. The message was clear. People prefer fake Rivers to real Rivers. But here's where the story gets interesting. The fans didn't forget Pinkerton. While critics were trashing it and casual fans were ignoring it, a small group of obsessive Weezer fans kept listening. They passed it around on forums, uploaded it to file-sharing services, wrote essays about how it was misunderstood. By the early 2000s, Pinkerton's reputation is completely reversing. It's showing up on best albums of the 90s. Rolling Stone literally apologizes for their original review and gives it 5 stars in a reassessment. It becomes the cool Weezer album to like, the one that proves you're a real fan. Rivers watches this happen and it fucks with his head even more. The album that destroyed him is now considered his masterpiece. The honesty that got him eviscerated is now celebrated as brave. He spent 15 years becoming a different person to avoid the pain of Pinkerton, and now people are telling him Pinkerton-era Rivers was the best version of himself. The rehabilitation of Pinkerton is one of the strangest critical reversals in music history. The same publication that called it juvenile in 1996 is calling it a masterpiece of emotional honesty in 2010. The fans who ignored it are now pretending they loved it all along. But it's too late for Rivers. The damage is permanent. You can hear it in every Weezer album from the Green Album onwards. Rivers occasionally tries to be vulnerable again. The callbacks on Maladroit, the confessional stuff on the White Album in 2016, but he always pulls back. He's like someone who got burned touching a stove and now refuses to cook. The closest he gets to Pinkerton-level honesty is Only in Dreams-level stuff on the White Album in 2016, but even that's filtered through 20 years of self-protection. It's Rivers trying to remember how to feel things without actually feeling them. The tragic irony is that Pinkerton's success in retrospect proves the original album was right. Rivers was convinced he was unlovable, that his real self was too ugly for people to accept. The critical savaging confirmed his worst fears. But the eventual embrace proved those fears were wrong.
People did want honest Rivers. They just needed time to process it. But by the time they figured that out, honest Rivers was gone. There's this interview from 2016 where someone asks Rivers if he'd ever make another Pinkerton, and he literally can't answer. He starts talking, stops, starts again, and then just says, "I don't know if I could survive it." That's the legacy of Pinkerton. Not just a great album, but an album so emotionally devastating to create and release that it permanently disabled Rivers' ability to be vulnerable. He showed everyone his soul. They told him it was ugly.
And he spent 25+ years building walls so thick nothing can get through. The Pinkerton story is a cautionary tale about criticism, timing, and what happens when someone is punished for honesty. Rivers Cuomo made one of the most emotionally naked albums in rock history, and the response was so brutal it turned him into a formula-following shell of himself. Every mediocre Weezer album since 2001 is a direct result of Pinkerton's reception. Every safe lyric, every calculated hook, every decision to play it safe, it all traces back to September 1996, when a 26-year-old with a broken leg poured his heart out and got told his heart wasn't worth hearing. The worst part, Pinkerton is fucking brilliant. Across the Sea is devastating. Butterfly is beautiful. Tired of Sex captures existential loneliness better than almost any song ever written. It deserved to be loved in 1996, not 2004. But it wasn't, and Rivers never recovered. So now we have two Weezers. Pre-Pinkerton Rivers, who was weird and vulnerable and willing to fail, and post-Pinkerton Rivers, who writes songs designed to not hurt him. We lost the first Rivers because we weren't ready for him. The album that should have cemented Rivers Cuomo as one of the great lyricists of his generation instead broke him so badly that he became a parody of himself. And fans who now worship Pinkerton contributed to creating the very thing they hate: safe, calculated post-2001 Weezer. You can't go back. Rivers can't unknow what it felt like to be eviscerated for honesty. Even if he wanted to make Pinkerton 2, he's not the same person anymore. That Rivers died in 1996, killed by Rolling Stone reviews and poor sales figures. What we have now is a Rivers who knows exactly what works, what sells moderately, what keeps him safe. He's made peace with being successful and nostalgic rather than honest. And honestly, you can't blame him. Nobody volunteers to get destroyed twice. Pinkerton is a masterpiece. It's also a tragedy. Not because of the music is perfect, because of what happened to the person who made it. If this deep dive into artistic trauma and critical failure made you feel things, hit subscribe because I've got more stories about musicians who got punished for being real. And like the video because Rivers would probably analyze the engagement metrics and adjust his content strategy accordingly, which is the saddest sentence I've ever written. Right, out of the AI voice, I'm off to listen to Why Bother and cry about a teenage heartbreak of mine. See you in the comments, you beautiful, emotionally available bastards.